Welcome back, everybody, to the WCS Europe Premier League, day something 5. Here as we get ready for our next series, which is going to be between Ret and ThorZaIN. This is going to be a good one. What are your thoughts on these two players coming up?
Certainly, it's going to be good. Ret and ThorZaIN, they're two players that have been, I would say, star-spangled for quite a long time, if we want to go for a US reference. But Ret has had that little bit of inconsistency that has plagued him throughout a lot of his career. If you speak statistically, he's been up and down when it comes to results in his graphs and things like that. Finished in the round of 32 last season, didn't really attain the heights that he would have liked to have to do his name justice in Season 1. And I think that, well, he's got to actually make it into the round of 16 here if he wants to be considered still one of the very, very tip-tops in Europe.
I think that both of these players, have a lot to, to go on today to perform well. Ret, as you said, suffers heavily from inconsistency. One day, he's one of the best Zerg players. One day, we can look at him and say, yeah, he just defended that kind of attack, and now he just got a major army and won the game. On other days, he takes too much damage and just crumbles. But he's going up against a player now, ThorZaIN, who in recent times has not been performing as well as people would hope for him to do. Naniwa's taken the throne in Sweden, and arguably in Europe, there's a long time where ThorZaIN was regarded, as you can see at that bottom point there, as #1 Terran outside of Korea for a very long time. But now in recent times, people look at Lucifron, people look at Happy. And it's now time for both of these players to kind of show what they're worth. ThorZaIN, who hasn't been putting in the results recently, to Ret, who's 27 years old, playing in a group of 19, 21, and 20 years old.
Yeah.
He needs to show us what he's capable of too.
It certainly does. But as you said, ThorZaIN here, he was considered. I would say he was considered the best Terran player in Europe for quite a long time. Yeah. But now that mantle has been taken by the likes of people like Happy and Cass, and obviously Lucifron, who just sit atop the pile right now. And if ThorZaIN wants to grab back that title, he has to take that round of 16, that round of 8, that round of 4 maybe even, here in WCS Season 2.
Yeah, just looking at ThorZaIN's recent results, it's round of 32 from DreamHack, round of 32 from Home Story Cup, and around 30 to 40 in the recent MLG. These are very low tier results for what he's capable of. Remember, he won DreamHack Stockholm in the finals over Pult, just over a year ago. Now it's time to see if he can move through to the round of 16. Can Ret also do the same?
We shall see as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner here as our red Zerg. He is Liquid Ret. And spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner as our blue Terran, we have EG's ThorZaIN.
ThorZaIN almost making it to the round of 8, actually, last season. I think he finished, so he did finish, so I know he finished in the round of 16. So close to advancing. I just want to refresh your memory on that, everyone at home. Is that in that group, it was ThorZaIN, Demaga, Stefano, and Baby Knight, I think. And it was, no, not Baby Knight. Baby Knight, okay, so I'm refreshing your memory, but I got it wrong. But anyway, ThorZaIN's run was 2-0 over Demaga. He then had to go up against Stefano, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Very close series. On this map was the last deciding map, which he almost had until Stefano ripped it away from him. And then he went in the rematch against Demaga and lost 1-2.
Yep.
In that incredibly crazy game on Neoplanet S. Remember that run by of Zerglings? That cost him his tournament?
Well, saved Demaga, yeah.
Saved Demaga and cost ThorZaIN, because ThorZaIN in that game took a lead. And then that crumbled and everything fell, and he bombed out in the round of 16, and Demaga was the player that followed Stefano in that group in second place.
And to that point, in Season 1, these guys, ThorZaIN and Ret, were actually in the same group in the round of 32. But you get that weird situation in dual tournament where you actually can avoid someone completely. And these two did just that. They avoided each other completely. So now here in Season 2, in the round of 32, they meet. Well, they have this meeting now in after the both seasons, and it's about time. It's about time.
Looking at both of these two player styles, I think if you were to I think anybody, I think my non-existent cat could describe Ret's play style. I think he's been known for it since the beginning of time, where he, plays with minimal defense. And if he's able to play on that minimal defense without taking losses, then he glides through the mid stages and the later stages with a phenomenal economy. That's just how he plays. On the other hand, though, ThorZaIN's a spoon Terran. In recent times, that's changed to the fork Terran with the use of the Hellbat. It's become, you know, progressively more aggressive with the use of that unit. So we'll see how these do play against each other.
I'm curious to see actually how a lot of Terrans will adapt once changes come along, and see how the Hellbat end up being changed. But you're right, for all intents and purposes, with the Hellbat being as strong as it is, then it is very, very good.
All right, so we do have the bunker coming down. I'm actually looking at ThorZaIN's view, and he hasn't scouted anything yet. He hasn't scouted anything at all. He's just playing this completely blind, but he's playing against a player who's one of the most predictable individuals there are out there, of course, just going for his hatchery pull. But he does have speed down fast, and as we say that Rhett's predictable, he's still mining gas from inside his main base. With gas still mining from inside his main base means that, you know, likelihood of aggression shoots up, and there the Baneling Nest comes down. Of all things, from all people, to throw his image, to write down, I'm a macro player, to grab that piece of paper, and you know what he does with that piece of paper? He does this. Does that and throws it out the window, because that's what he just did here. Claris, he's got a Baneling Nest coming down. Yeah,
this could certainly cause ThorZaIN a bit of problems here. Although that being said, where his bunker is positioned, he's currently queued up to actually throw down some supply depots near it to try and wall that off where he can. So he's taking some precautions against some aggressive plays that could occur, but as you said before, this is...
He hasn't scouted.
ThorZaIN is not anticipating this at all.
ThorZaIN hasn't even scouted. He's taken for granted who Rhett is and what he does. Rhett now knows... Oh my god.
Really?
These pauses have happened a lot in recent times here. And we'll see what this means. As it looks like they are ready to go into game as well. So the game does continue on. And we are now going to see if this all-in fails or succeeds. It's on the higher ground. The Banelings are getting off. 3 command centers behind this. 2 Hellions are on the way. If they get caught up...
Wow. Okay, this is getting a bit crazy here. Rhett, it's important to reiterate that he hardly ever does this.
The Hellions... No! The Hellions get surrounded! He can't... No! Do they...
They just barely didn't. It was weird. The positioning of them against that wall didn't really help out Rhett too much there. The bunker, though, does end up going down. The supply depot wall was never fully finished off near that bunker, and now the Zerglings completely have their way with that natural. More Banelings morphing in right on the ramp, but not the best place to go.
I think Rhett shouldn't have killed the bunker there with all his Banelings. I think he should have focused on the supply depots. If the supply depots had gone down, he would have been able to get into the main base, but now Hellions are going to keep on coming out. I think that was a little bit of a mistake there from Rhett, who's gone back over to drone production. So it's not a mistake that cost him the game, but he didn't do as much, if not game-ending damage, to what he could have done there.
He's going to try and break through once again here, but ThorZaIN has to be very, very aware of this kind of play. Sends a few Lings forwards to try and soak up some of those Hellion shots to kick things off, and actually does bust on through here. The Zergling's going to flood on forwards, but 4 Hellions should be able to clean this up as long as they're micro properly.
Yeah, they should be fine here. He's going to try and focus the Tetla down. It's not going to work. As the Lings will definitely get roasted off here. There's no question here that they, you know, should kill the Hellions and get to the SCV line. Damage was done. 3 command centers remain, but there is a lead here for Rhett, who goes up to 50 drones compared to 30. But remember, there still are mules, and no 3rd hatchery down yet.
He's even actually just taking the opportunity here to crank out 2 engineering bays. So trying to get those upgrades going where he can, just so that he can power on to a better bio position later on. But he's got to catch up in terms of that economy game right now, which he is trying to do with transferring over to that natural.
Yeah, so the game does move on. An interesting opening here from Rhett. The funny thing is the first thing I said in this game, my cat could describe what Rhett does.
The non-existent cat, man.
A non-existent cat, which I'll never have.
It's a good job as well.
Yeah, that didn't go down too well. But we do have the layer coming in here from Rhett. And I think what we're going to see with the amount of gas that he has incoming from all of these, it should be for straight towards an overseat. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was for a Spire as well on top. For a Spire play, it catches out a lot of timings. It's able to harass and continue through. Not super dedication to the Spire units, of course, because he does have the evolution chambers down, but he may not even do that. I mean, if he goes for 1-1, if you look at the gas he has banked up, takes it, what? Is he going to build a single Mulisk and, I mean, a single Spire? I don't know.
I mean, personally, from my perspective, I would love to see the Spire. Actually, there you go.
Yeah.
It does go down. But even when you just throw this down as a Zerg and say just get a sprinkling of Mutalisks, you force your opponent to start getting missile turrets and static defenses that may not be that useful later on if you're not going to fully commit to Mutalisks, right? So it costs the Terran a little bit more once again.
Yeah, it always costs the Terran, but look at this minimal defense. Once again here by Ret, only having about 6 Zerglings out to defend against these Hellions. Luckily he has 18 now, which is a lot to deal with these, but he is going to take a few drone hits.
Losing off quite a few. Losing 9 thus far. Wait, no, losing 3. So not too bad there from ThorZaIN, but in the end, didn't really get exactly what he wanted to do with that. One cranking out here, as well as another Baneling Nest.
Yeah, that's just probably an automatic timing, you know, autopilot coming in. Oh, I'm at the lair, I didn't get my Baneling Nest down, did I yet? And throws it down. A little bit of mistake there from Ret, but great overload spread from him. But I'd say his attack in the early stages did not give him the lead he wanted. Probably because he didn't break down the supply depots here. If you look at the, with the Armory, is a little bit mistimed, but with the Armory coming in, he'll be able to start 2-2 before the Zerg even completes 1-1. And, you know, that's going to give the Terran army such an edge when it comes to fight. They'll fight a lot more cost efficiently, and that means that he's actually able to not lose as much. He's able to keep his army high all the time.
Ret now also going for that 4th base. 10 Mutalisks here now on the way for Ret. So what does ThorZaIN have in response? He has a lot of Widow Mines, actually. He has 8 out right now that he could quite easily position in good spots to actually defend against this, but no missile turrets just yet. So, and there's actually one going out at the very front here, so he's going to start producing those where he can.
Yeah, let's hope he does throw down more than just that single one there, because if these Mutalisks come into the mineral line, which they very well could do here, Ret's up to 75 drones behind this. He's only going to be making aggressive units, but we do see ThorZaIN making a movement out here. Just a handful of Marines. Not enough, though. Well, actually, I say not enough. There's quite a few here, considering there's no Balings or Baling speed down.
And actually, yeah, Ret is just moving completely across the map with everything. As you said before, his vision is fantastic on this map right now, aside from straight through the middle. He has vision everywhere, but he hasn't fully accounted for this army now plowing forwards. He does have some Banelings morphing in, though, and Centrifugal Hooks is on the way. And the Mutalisks, they catch ThorZaIN with his pants down. There's no missile turrets in those mineral lines.
But Ret has to make sure he defends his 3rd base, too. That's the mission. Do damage and deal with the defense.
Oh, he's got to be very, very careful here. Once again, Centrifugal Hooks is not finished up just yet. Nice Widow connection with just a few Zerglings, but not too much. There are still those Overseers there, so he should be able to shut down quite a few of those. Ret being very, very patient about this defense, and will push him back for now.
There is another Widow Mine that will go off there. Oh, well, will it?
Oh, Widow Mine. Well,
I guess a single Zergling does get a couple of Mutalisks. Oh, damage done to the Mutalisks, so not bad so far as Zergling speed. I mean, Baling speed is now done.
Morphing even a few more Banelings in here, just trying to push forwards and kill off what he can. He actually got quite a few Widow Mines there. Resources lost, 3,500 to 3,600. So very, very even right now, whilst Ret has mined quite a significant amount more, is a bit annoying here for ThorZaIN.
Interestingly enough, though, Ret's not building upgrades. Okay, so he's got his 2-2 coming in, but he doesn't have any air upgrades. I remember the efficiency that we talked about a little bit earlier. Now that 2-2 is seconds away from finishing for ThorZaIN here, his Medivac count's a little bit low at this point. There's only 2 out there, but with a couple more coming in, the next fight that ThorZaIN takes is going to be a very strong one. Ret's going to have to get the right detonations with his Balings.
He is. Yeah, those really need to connect here, but ThorZaIN's always been all right about splitting up, so we'll see if he's able to try and get those in good positions once again. 16 Mutalisks here, poising themselves to dive into an expansion where they can. There's only 1 missile turret here, but look at this. ThorZaIN preparing himself very, very nicely with those Marines, as well as that Widow Mine, but does pull back for now.
All right, what are you doing here, Ret, with your main army? He's going to burst through the bunker and supply depots. I'm not sure if this is a good move here, because there's a lot of units coming in to defend. The SCVs evacuate. If Ret loses all these units, and then he has to face a counterattack with nothing.
Yeah, he really does. That being said, though, the Bio has been forced to stem, and they're losing quite a lot of this health, thanks to the fact that there's really not that many medevacs out right now. Only 5 in total. So we'll fall back for now. Will Ret. 175 supply to 167. And 3-3, once again, is on the way for ThorZaIN. So I think that what you were saying before about the upgrade advantage, 3-3 bio against this kind of army without the proper upgrades can be lethal.
Yeah, Ret didn't lose too much there, which is the best part of that attack. It really didn't deal too much either, but now we do have Rhett pulling back. The Infestation Pit is on its way. We'll be going over to Hive shortly, but we are going to have a movement out from ThorZaIN, who's healed up his units finally. Rhett, though, you know, he's got a lot of Banelings. The mines are going to be crucial. With the right Widow Mine hits,
Oop.
do anything.
We'll kill off a Medevac's worth of units there as well. So ThorZaIN still positioning himself in the front, making himself known. I'm pretty sure you phrased it very, very well previously in a previous cast when you said he's puffing up his feathers here, showing him exactly what he can do with his army, poising himself to actually go for an engagement through the middle. But Rhett, he has quite a lot as well.
He has a lot. Both of these players have a lot. 2-2's about to complete from Rhett, so the upgrades are equal, and he's waiting for that very moment here. It's seconds away, and here comes Rhett from multiple fronts.
Wow, a great push in here from Rhett here. Really nicely split up, but at the same time, the Marines split themselves up fantastically as well. The Widow Mines get some good connections, but there's still more Banelings actually spilling on in. Marines split absolutely everywhere, and Liquid Rhett will kill off a good chunk of this army, but a few of the Mutalisks have ended up going down, and in the end, all the Marines die on off, and Rhett with a very cool engagement.
A drop on the right-hand side here has broken the mineral line a little bit, so he did lose a few drones here, and he may lose the hatchery. So now it's... Wait. Oh, that's a nice snipe there. Nice counter-attack there by ThorZaIN, who sits himself still comfortably on 3 bases. Does not have a 4th command center on the way yet, but it doesn't matter. He's approaching 3-3. There's no way, really, that Rhett, if he wants to try to go up to get in an Ultralisk Cavern or something with now his hives completed, he needs to spend all the money he's got banked if he does that. I think it's unwise, actually. He's got the Ultralisk Cavern coming down. He's got to make sure he mines from a 4th base because the pressure should keep up here from ThorZaIN. That means more Banelings. He won't have enough money to get to Ultras. If he gets there, that's where he wins. But can he get there?
Yeah, we'll have to see here as the Mutalist still dancing around at the back here against a few Marines. Will kill those off and try and deal some damage to the infrastructure. But as you said, moving through the middle of the map here with these Widow Mines as well as 3-3 bio is going to be treacherous for Rhett if he's not careful. But the Mutalist is actually doing an all right job here. So even killing off a few Widow Mines, not too bad. Oh, Drilling Claws has to be very careful. We'll pull back.
And at the same time, a drop on the right-hand side here. Both players playing incredibly fast as ThorZaIN gets behind the mineral line, and Rhett's able to keep that 4th base alive, but he does need to start mining gas from that immediately as the Mules do attempt to bring into this 3rd base. And now Rhett is at the Ultralisk Cavern tech. 2 Ultralisks come in. The pressure's not been as heavy as expected from ThorZaIN, but he is going to move to this right-hand side. Still Rhett without the Ultralisk, still a little bit weak to this 3-3 Marine and Widow Mine army.
A few of those Marines did actually die from their Banelings as well, but now ThorZaIN, I mean, he is keeping his opponent completely ragged in terms of positioning his bio everywhere. And I think we had previous TVZs on this map where Zergs have had a hard time keeping up with all of this bio pressure, and it's kind of happening again. ThorZaIN is trying to keep himself in this, but the Ultralisks, as I said, are on the way, and there's actually no Marauders out right now. No
Marauders at all, but ThorZaIN now still needs time to get a 4th base down where he can add on these extra 2 barracks, as we see in the production tab, to get the tech labs for those Marauders. Though, we do see Liquid Rhett come in with his Mutalist on this left-hand side to stop that base from coming down, but this is where ThorZaIN continues to drop. If he keeps his opponent back while he builds up ready to deal with Ultralisk, that's where he's going to find his victory.
And so he's going to intercept a few Marines as well, just making sure that they can't really do anything as Rhett just expands pretty much absolutely everywhere, trying to get his economy in check, trying to get it completely up and running so that he can continue to try and hold ThorZaIN back. But ThorZaIN, this is kind of the ThorZaIN we know in essence, just the style of dropping here and there and just trying to choke out his opponent slowly, but Rhett's kind of having none of it aside from a few bases that he's lost.
All right, well, these Marines do get picked up as they're sent towards the natural here, but ThorZaIN has got his 4th base down. Rhett likewise taking his own 4th at this point, and the Ultras count is climbing. Marauders just now entering the field. 1 is currently out with 2 more on the way.
Great little position there.
Yeah, that's right. There's 3 Ultras. Let's have a look at the count already. 5 out, 3 more on the way for a total of 8 now, with Infestors backing them up.
Yeah, catches a few of those Medevacs, and will continue to fungal 1 or 2 of them. So just locking those down and keeping them in place whilst chasing the rest of the army. Unit counts, though, for ThorZaIN only has 3 Marauders out right now. Will have an extra 5 very, very quickly, but Rhett's not letting up on the aggression. He's going to push forwards, using those Ultralisks to tank some of the Widow Mines to fight things first. That's a lot of Widowmine explosions.
And where's ThorZaIN's army? He needs to defend this location.
Tries to push on forwards once again here. The Planetary Fortress helping out quite a lot, but Rhett trying to kill off what he can. More Banelings as well as Ultralisks coming into the fray. He's trying to focus down that Planetary Fortress, and he will end up getting it, but at the cost of quite a few of these Ultralisks if he's not careful. Another one does come into the fray at the very back here, but meanwhile, over the other side, ThorZaIN going for the counter.
ThorZaIN going for the counterplay here, so very low economy game by both players. A lot of links are on the way, but these 3-3 Marines, okay, one Ultralisk on the other side of the map will help clean this up. And ThorZaIN is hurt now. Look at the money to gas balance. He needs minerals at this point. So he's lifting up his natural command center to go over there. Rhett's still mining off multiple bases. Rhett is behind his supply at this point, but if he's able to climb up. But there's 5 Ultralisks to 17 Marauders. 17 Marauders.
And now ThorZaIN, he's decided that he's just going to pick everything up and try and snipe out bases where he can. I think an Overlord may have barely just caught the end of that, but now he knows. He's had that Ling there positioned in time to actually get that, and will try and move in with all of these Zerglings. Marauders actually don't do that well against Zerglings, and catching a lot of those off guard. Good position there by Rhett.
Yeah, ThorZaIN's entire army is not with him at this point, but he is back mining towards that left-hand side base, still with a 10 to 15 supply lead. 4 Infestors coming out, which is going to be pretty good against these drops to keep them in position, as the rest of the infested Terrans from the other ones will bring them down. But yeah, great use of Infestors at this point, especially because he is low on mineral income and higher a little bit more on gas. But this game, neck and neck at this point.
Yeah, it's very, very neck and neck right now. ThorZaIN, actually, if you could get that Ultralisk Cavern, that would be fantastic. And great transfuses here by Rhett, though, keeping that alive. The Zerglings will push it away. A good save there by Rhett, but meanwhile, to the left-hand side as well, he does pick off another hatchery. So ThorZaIN really keeping Rhett on his toes, splitting up his medevacs where he can to try and go for even more aggression. Just drops everywhere.
Yeah, drops everywhere. There's just nothing. There's no Museless anymore. There's only these Infestors. They have pinned one drop slightly to the left of this one, getting cleaned up here. And he will lose these units here as he starts to regain control of this map. But in an army size that's similar, ThorZaIN wins with the great spread. And right now, he is leading in army supply. But remember, everything is not together.
Yeah, you're right. He needs to consolidate all of his forces here to try and compete against Rhett's army, which, well, actually, it's only just... oh, that was actually a great fungal growth there, locking those down with the Ultralisks. Doesn't have any Lings to actually tank a lot of that. Bringing a few forwards now to try and get those Ultralisks in position as well here, but still a few Lings over at the top left-hand corner. Did not morph that into a Planetary Fortress. Actually had to fly his natural over there to try and get that going once again. And Rhett might actually just start crushing out ThorZaIN here.
ThorZaIN's evacuating this location. Rhett ahead in supply at this point. That fungal in the middle of the map changed a lot. That was a lot of units that just went down very easily without really trading off their worth against what Rhett had. As these Ultras and Lings do chase down the small squad of units. And ThorZaIN knows, GG. And I believe that ThorZaIN in that center map, at that stage when low economy, can't lose that much.
No, that was a very, very impressively played game by, I would say, both players. I was going to say Rhett, but both players played that very, very nicely. Just ThorZaIN in the end got overrun. It's really difficult to deal with an opponent that's expanding everywhere. Yes, ThorZaIN was dropping everywhere as well, but tough times for the Terran.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that one last little clump of units in the middle of the map really changed things around. If they were spread around, if the Widow Mines were borrowed, as you saw that fight unfold, things happen a lot differently. He can't engage as easily into that. But anyway, whatever the case, we do see Rhett taking game number 1 here. We'll see what the next map is. If it's a smaller map, I'm going to feel that ThorZaIN's going to start to put the pressure onto Rhett a little bit, despite what we saw Rhett do earlier in game number 1 with that super hyper-aggression Baneling build, which kind of came out of nowhere, very similar to how Jadon was playing a lot at DreamHack and other previous events, getting that gas down early, turning his build into aggression.
And now that you mention you think it was going to be a small map or something, it's going to be Star Station here between Rhett and ThorZaIN. So how are you feeling about this map here, Apollo?
Star Station is pretty good for medivacs, but it's also good for correct Mutalisk harassment. One thing that becomes more difficult as the game goes on is Zerg players have a little bit more hard time, defending multiple locations when they're far away from each other. Drops and straight waypoint line barracks do a lot of damage. I mean, if you remember back, I think a lot of you here who are watching this now, you know, witnessed Show beat Life on this map at DreamHack about a month ago. In that game, you drop on one side and then waypoint everything else down the other side. That kind of playstyle, once it gets to the 50-minute mark, is very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'd like Ret to try to end it before that, unless he's got an advantage earlier on.
Yeah, if he can try and change things up a little bit at the beginning, like we actually saw him do in that game. We weren't quite expecting him to go for that Baneling bust. Didn't really fully do the damage he would have liked to have done. Yeah. Arguably, he would have liked to have killed his opponent off entirely. But behind it, he was droning up. So there was always that contingency plan there for Ret if he needed it.
All right, so who do you think is going to win this next game? Is it going to be the wild card, which is Ret, and now we've actually seen him play, or is it ThorZaIN?
I think that on a map like Star Station, if ThorZaIN's able to utilize what he did in that game, then maybe I think that there's the shot for ThorZaIN to tie up the series here. I think the Star Station would be a good map for him.
All right, we'll find out now as we do start to get into this next map. I believe that ThorZaIN really stepped it up halfway through that second game with a different amount of drops that we came out and saw from him. But Ret did take control for the majority of it. I don't think he had the best of starts and got slowed down a lot, but this next map is a fresh map. Both players at an equal level going into this. Remember, the winner of this will go up to play against Wellmew in the winners match. Let's find out how this series is going to unfold.
As we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner here as our Red Terran representing EG, he is ThorZaIN. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our Blue Zerg representing Liquid from the Netherlands, he is Ret.
Ret against 3 Nordic players here. Denmark, Sweden, and Finland. It'd be interesting to see if ThorZaIN was to go up against Wellmew in the winners match. He lost versus Elfie not too long ago at the DreamHack Tournament 2. Last tournament that he played at before MLG. I mean, who would you want to go through? Not who you think will go through. Who do you want to go through for this match?
From this match specifically?
Yeah.
If I said anything other than Ret, I have a specific friend who would be very angry at me, so I'm going to go with Ret. But if I want to talk about the whole group, I would love to see Wellmew actually advance on forward. And that's not just because I lived in Finland for a while. It also has something to do with the fact that Wellmew actually has been fighting so hard for a spot in WCS. He's fought from the very beginning of qualification process and is now here and is in a position where he has one more series to advance on to the round of 16. Would be cool.
Just like Duck in our previous group here.
Yeah.
But today we will find out who will join the round of 16 alongside those other fantastic 8 players that we already have coming live to play in Cologne, Germany. So, you know, thank you guys for tuning in here. And ticket sales probably already out there, or starting to come out there here.
They are indeed.
I'm pretty sure they're already out there if you want to come watch the games in Cologne. I'm sure you'll find them somewhere. I don't have them on hand at the moment. As you can see, I'm rather busy at this point, commentating these games for you. But we do have a barracks opening into the command center here from ThorZaIN. And I think what we could very easily see with the barracks coming down, it increases his tech a little bit more so than go command center first. I wouldn't be surprised if he took double gases quite fast and then try to rush up to factory starport armory and try to go along the lines of a Hellbat drop. I think that would be quite good against what Ret does, who usually doesn't get a roach horn. I think that's kind of one of his weaknesses in his game.
Yeah, it's certainly, it's always been the early game for Ret that's really taken a toll on him. And that's been exploited many a time by a lot of players in previous tournaments. WCS Netherlands, actually, previous year was one where he actually was exploited quite heavily when it came to early aggression. Quite a long time ago, of course, and Ret did adapt very nicely to halve the swarm. So we'll see if he can prepare for such things.
Well, Ret so far has gone completely gasless, and he does have an overlord making its way to the natural. This basically shows that there had been a barracks come down early because the command center is naturally later than it would have been if it was a command center first. So he kind of knows the thought process of, well, why would he decide to get the barracks a little bit earlier on, you know, over the command center? So we'll see if it's going to, you know, kind of play out the way I think it might here from ThorZaIN. As Ret just, you know, completely gasless. 4 queens now coming down. I think that 4 is enough. I think that he probably, well, if he goes up to 6, 6 is a lot. It used to be normal for a long time, but I think he's going to take a 3rd base maybe before he takes gas. Is it going to be 6 queens?
And, well, I mean,
it's either 6 queens or a 3rd base is taken now, so it looks like 6 queens.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That's pretty good against Hellbats, to be honest.
Yeah, it certainly could be. With that, though, the armory is also already going down here for ThorZaIN. So this is all nicely timed out here with that starport going down as well. So very, very standard play from him in regards to the current kind of level of aggression that you're seeing out of Terran right now. And the double extractors have been taken from Ret. So and there's that 3rd base now on the way.
3rd base instead of 2 additional queens there, as it does take his double gas. So we are going to have Hellbats against a potentially Roach Warren-less Ret. Unless he spots the armory with this Overload, which is on the natural, which is heading in the right direction. Just depends on if it goes into the main. Because I think ideally he may want to get, I'm pretty sure you'd want to get the Roach Warren down against the Hellbats. So, you know, only TLO defends with Banelings.
Yeah.
Not too many other Zerg players does. And Ret has not spotted it. He spotted the gas, though. But he poked in and he just barely didn't see it.
Let's see what he's actually spotted. Yeah, he
barely didn't see this. And he's going to poke in again here, but there is a Marine to push it back early. So is he going to continue through?
Does he continue?
Sees a starport.
No add-on, so...
Medivac or Viking being built here. Another Rector. Okay, sees the armory. So now is the time the Roach Warren should come down. Voila. So he's got the double evolution chamber and Roach Warren coming in. So now he knows he just has to defend. Then it's this. Take minimal losses.
Yeah, Helling's poking at the front as well. Spot the 3rd base that was going down, as well as the current state of the creep that Ret's pushing on out. But the 4-queen defense is actually really, really awesome here by Ret. It's got a lot of versatility, and it gets your creep going very, very aggressively. For a while, Ret's creep spread wasn't actually there in a few matchups, but now it is, and that just makes him even more scarier player.
All right, well, the Hellbats do grace the field on the other side of the map here, tickling this hatchery with its flames. Lava did die there. A horrible, horrible sound when the lava dies.
I would try to replicate it, but I'm not going to. But he does actually pick on up into the natural main base as well here. Sees the layer, gets a little bit of scouting intel, and tries to chase away a queen, but gets forced on out. Ret doing a good job of focusing down the medevac for a long time and preventing the retreat path out if he were to overstay his welcome. So very, very good by him. Ooh, that's a lot of medevacs.
That's a lot of medevacs, a lot of harassment. Behind this, he is building a timing, which I'll talk about in a little bit here, but he is going to make its way towards this 3rd. He's got to be careful of that one loose medevac at the back.
Ooh, and actually does unload a lot of those Hellions. In fact, Hellbats even all of them, and tries to get this going once again here, doing quite a bit of damage, but those Roaches trying to hold on as well. Ret actually is microing like an absolute champ, and even kills off another medevac during all of this, trying to keep these queens as healthy as he possibly can do, but then still pushes back another medevac. He has lost very little against these Hellbats.
Yeah, he's losing. I mean, if you look at the units lost tab here, I mean, says kind of everything, right? He hasn't hardly lost anything. Yeah. He's lost, you know, I mean, no drones at all, if you look at the drones lost. And ideally, what I was going to say is his timing's coming in where Stim nears completion, is that he would have loved to. And when I say ThorZaIN would have loved, I mean he would have loved to pick off drones to slow Ret down. That Ret wasn't building an army as this push comes out, but drones. Which may be the case anyway here, is Ret's only at 13 Roaches. But he's moving out now with Stim, Marauders, Hellbats. This is a very powerful timing. Ret needs to build an army. He hasn't seen this yet, only just now seeing it. Very, very late to spot this timing coming in. And like mentioned, he's only at 13 Roaches and 70 drones. And
the Baneling nest is going down once again, maybe to try and get a few Banelings out to deal with it, but at the same time, connecting with Hellbats with the Banelings can be annoying in itself. Closing the gap there.
Can't lose his 3rd.
Oop, yeah,
cannot lose his 3rd. This timing is here to kill the 3rd. Ret, move over drones a little bit here.
Ooh. How many drones does he actually have? He has 69 right now, so that is a lot here. Those Hellbats, actually, the Roaches are not doing too bad a job here kiting a lot of those Hellbats and trying to push on forward. If those Hellbats dissipate, then the rest of that bio is going to be left very, very weak indeed, despite actually having Stim.
Ret, is he going to be able to pull off the defense? It looks like he's going to here. The Roaches, despite having no upgrades, neither does the Terran player, and ThorZaIN backs out. I wonder if ThorZaIN should have tried to pick off the hatchery. Of course, he would have had to deal with the counterattack, which seems to have been launched a little bit with the units that Ret has left off spare. But the third command center is quite late here, only just now going over to an orbital command. He should be able to defend at home. There's not too many units here, to be honest. But a fourth base absolutely should come down for Ret.
Yeah, and he's going to take that down to the south position right now. Ret here, poised and ready to actually maybe push into this natural if he wants to. But I think in the end, he's happier to just sit around in the middle of the map, keep himself well defended. He knows that if his fourth base gets up and running, his economy advantage is going to be absolutely fantastic.
And we do have a bit of a fight in the middle. But yeah, I mean, he will have a great lead. Great micro here from ThorZaIN. He's going to pick off the majority of these roaches, actually, if Ret stays around. A couple of Lings do come from behind, but it does tip the favor a little bit over there towards Ret. But yeah, as you say, fourth base coming down, he's got a great amount of units, great economy. At this point, I'd probably say, I mean, if he hasn't got the Spire already, just get the Infestation Pit, man. You rush those Ultras, buddy.
Yeah.
You get those rolling.
And I'm curious, Apollo, is that ThorZaIN has his 2-2 just now on the way. The push he went out with their Hellions and the Hellbats, whilst we have this small engagement in the middle, did the push for ThorZaIN come at the sacrifice of the speed of his upgrades?
And his third base. Like,
right.
that's what you sacrifice to be able to do that, and hopefully you try to bring down the third hatchery. But remember that this strategy really focuses heavily on trying to do damage and harassment with those Hellbats. He did nothing.
Yeah.
Which is why it didn't work out too well. But as you said, yeah, his upgrades are behind now, unlike previous game where they were in the lead. So his command center's a little bit late. Ret's got 140 supply. He's got the Hive on the way. He's going to get super fast. Actually, it's interesting he gets +1 missile attacks.
Actually, yeah, you're
I
right.
guess he might as well, right? He's got nothing else building from the Evolution Chamber. But he'll go over to the Ultras Cavern straight away here.
Yeah, he's just kind of trying to sync up the timings here because, you know, the Hive's morphing in. He can't go up to +3 anytime soon, so why not actually go for that +1 missile attacks whilst you don't have the ability to with no Hive there. Kills off a Spore Crawler, trying to go for these multi-pronged drops, and another one is going to try and make its way on into the main as well. So this is where ThorZaIN begins to be in his element, but how well he can make it work and how well Ret's defense holds up, which right now is actually holding up very nicely.
Well, Ret's biggest weakness at this point is that he doesn't have the Spire, which means he doesn't really have anything to deal with medivacs, which you can poke in and poke out. It's Star Station. It's a great map to run around, well, should I say fly around, and come back in consistently. But like as you say, he's got too many units anyway. He can defend everywhere and anywhere. But the supply count is, you know, closing in a little bit. But it's the upgrade lead, it's the Hive lead, it's the Ultras Cavern, which is going to come down shortly. These are the things that ThorZaIN really has to worry about.
And even these Hellbats as well as Marauders going to clean up in the fourth base again. 79 workers to 63, and he's killed off 15 workers thus far, but I don't even think that's enough to actually even up the odds, because right now, Ret, in terms of his gas income as well, is absolutely flying. And this Trop tries to come in, but there's like 4 units in the 2 medevacs across the board, so not a whole lot they can do right now.
Ret is saying, if you're going to drop me, do you have enough at home to defend? And that's a strong question to ask, because there are a ton of Widow Mines here.
Those Widow Mines could get the good connections that he wants to, but he does split some of those Roaches as well as Zerglings up at the very front, getting some good positions. Oh, but one of those Widow Mines does get a great connection with some of those Banelings, trying to roll on forwards once again, and majority of the Widow Mines die off, but that's about it.
But he decided to do that attack and not defend, and not get the Ultras Cavern down. And now he's taking damage, and he didn't break down ThorZaIN. That decision may have cost Ret the lead in this game. To move out across the map, to not do anything, to run into Widow Mines, to continue to get dropped and slow down his Ultras Cavern, which should have been coming down a lot faster. His income's been stifled on this base down there, that fourth base. He has no drones mining minerals. I think that was a mistake there by Ret.
And he spotted the Ultras Cavern almost instantly. I mean, he would have assumed that it was going to go on anyway after seeing that Hive had morphed in, but now getting that full confirmation means that ThorZaIN is going to be so comfortable on the mix that he's currently got going, even mixing in 1 or 2 more Marauders as well, whilst trying to go for extra drops, trying to stretch his opponent thin. And Ret, unless he gets some good fungals once again with Infestors, he's going to have a hard time dealing with an eventual 3-3 bio army.
Yeah, there is a counterattack being launched here by Ret, but in sacrifice for his fourth base, then there's not too much left at home to defend here.
Trying to push on against this fourth base is ThorZaIN here, and he killed off a little bit of his opponent's army in the middle of the map, but now the Zerglings being very, very pesky as well. Nicely positioned bio, though, to deter that from actually pushing on forwards.
Yeah, I think Red's dropped the ball a little bit here in this game, Clarice. As you can see the difference in supply. 20 supply lead here for ThorZaIN, still dropping. Already has, as you mentioned, 10 Marauders out, which is great against the Ultras on their way. Oh, that's kind of a shame. That command center was already landed, but now there's creep in the way.
Well, Ret trying to take what battles he can at this point, as income-wise, he's still looking all right, but not exactly in the tip-top shape he was a few minutes ago, as ThorZaIN has done a great job of actually shutting that down. And still, the drops were occurring. He still has a full medevac's worth of units here, and not too much to actually defend against this. So Ret's going to have to keep on his toes still.
Even that ThorZaIN with the lead in this game at this point, it's still not 100% won. One mistake of having all your units clumped up and hit by a fungal and attacked by Ultras, which are very close to being fully upgraded, anything is possible. There's another drop, continues to do harassment on this right-hand side. Another one down here as well in the center. And the same one back here again.
Yeah, well, it's just trying to pick up and get into a better position. Trying to keep his drop alive is the best policy here against annoying infestors that are actually taking a little bit of damage. But ThorZaIN still spreading himself out, and eventually will get his foot. There is a Marauder blocking this expansion.
Oh, if only he could get that expansion. I guess he doesn't. Well, I say doesn't need it. He doesn't desperately need it, but he does want it for sure. So he's got to sort that out a little bit. But yeah, there's so many barracks now. There's a 5th command center which has been finished up. Ret's army though, it is 123 to 132, and again, you know, ThorZaIN's all over the place.
Yeah, he is, and being that all over the place right now, with Ret trying to dance around in the middle of the map and keep himself defended, is so hard right now for the Zerg. Again, we're talking multiple times about how great the mobility can be for the Zerg, but if you actually can't keep on top of medevacs being as hyper-mobile as they are, ThorZaIN's gonna just run everywhere, and he is doing. He gets another expansion. Too
much here for Ret. There's a drop in the main, there's a drop in the 4th. He's gonna go for one last attack, and there's just too much. He can't deal with all of this. He says, all right, this is my chance to win the game while he's dropping me. I win it here or I lose it here. It's that simple.
And he pushes on forwards here. Needs good fungals to actually lock this down. One fungal hits one Marauder. No, but that's a good fungal. If he's able to chain that and continue, it would be fantastic. But no, does not get the second, as there's not really that many medevacs here, actually, with all of this. 3 medevacs are in the middle of the field here, trying to go for drops elsewhere, but we're focusing on this fight, as those Ultralisks, they need to get the engagement that they really, really sorely desire, but the barracks are really, really messing with their positioning. Oh!
What a great fungal there. Fantastic. And look at the supply. 5 more Ultralisks on the way.
Oh my
God.
God.
Red taking damage all over the place, just goes for one big attack. And he's made it work.
Yeah, he has. These Ultralisks just tanking so much, as well as the perfect fungals in the end to lock down this army. Some of them missed, but there you go. GG, well played, and Ret advances on to that upper bracket final.
Wow, so it's Ret against Welmu in our winner bracket game. And down in the bottom, we have ThorZaIN and Baby Knight to play it out. 2 players that performed so well in Season 1 down, and one of them will be eliminated so early on in Season 2. And that's been, you know, over the last couple of groups. Season 2, we saw TLO go out nice and early, and we saw Demaga go out as well.
It's been a very, very weird season thus far. But at the same time, the players that have advanced arguably, I mean, they deserve their spots as well. They've been performing absolutely phenomenally. So, guys, when we are back after the break, we shall have somebody advancing onto the round of 16. Will it be Ret or will it be Welmu? See you after this.